Ibad Husseinov was born on October 18, 1970, in the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan. After finishing the school, he was called up to the Soviet army. At that time, the Armenian separatists who took advantage of weakening of the USSR were fully mobilized to seize the Nagorno-Karabakh, an integral part of Azerbaijan. When the first military clashes broke out in Nagorno-Karabakh, Ibad Husseinov rose to the rank of Sergeant Major for his exemplary service in the Soviet army in the Amur region of Russia. On January 20, 1990, he learned that Soviet troops were deployed in Baku against the unarmed people who had defended their native land and protested against the central government, and that many of his compatriots had been killed. As a sign of protest against this bloody incident, Ibad Husseinov gathers around Azerbaijani soldiers and starts a hunger strike, demanding their returning to the motherland. The military command sees the solution of the problem in early demobilization of Ibad Husseinov from the army. It was a unique event at that time. The attempt of the Armenian separatists to tear away Nagorno-Karabakh, the historic territory of Azerbaijan, with the support of the organized Armenian mafia and the Republic of Armenia, and the incompetence of the political elites that governed the USSR at the time, laid the foundation of collapse of the world's largest state. The Azerbaijani people who faced aggression stood in passive defense in this unfair struggle. On the background of the collapse of the USSR and the real chaos, the Armenian side was fully mobilized to carry out its intrusive plans. But the people of Azerbaijan, unprepared for war, were completely left to the mercy of fate. After returning to Azerbaijan in 1990, Ibad Husseinov created a local self-defense group of volunteers in the native Khojaland region. He gave his soldiers special training. His endless passion to sport, his skillful use of firearms during the Siberian climatic raids, and his military skills in the Soviet army played an invaluable role in his future battles. Ibad Husseinov had exceptional military services in the failure of the Armenian occupation plan to seize a vast area of the Kur River, the defense of a small area of the territory of the former Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Region, in undeclared war for Nagorno-Karabakh between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Self-defense team created by Ibad Husseinov gradually becomes an intelligence team. This group routinely crossed into areas controlled by the Armenian armed forces, carried out diversion operations, captured the enemy's military ammunition and weapon as a trophy, exploded combat vehicles and military bases, and collected information about the locations of the secret combat positions. Ibad Husseinov never used a weapon against the Armenian civilian population. Subordinate him soldiers did this as a glorious warrior. Ibad Husseinov made a phenomenon in the 1990-1994 war. Signed incredible military successes and wrote his name on the history of Azerbaijan and the world. The military achievements of Ibad Husseinov have been investigated by special services of many countries and have been proven by numerous facts, which can never be a subject of debate. One of his greatest military successes was recorded on June 12, 1993. Personally eliminated the internationally renowned Armenian terrorist Monte Melkonyan, nicknamed Avo. and as a consequence, destroying a plan of large-scale attack by the enemy. According to intelligence reports, an Armenian commander called Abo was appointed to lead the Armenian military units in the direction of Agdam-Kochevend. Monte Melkonyan was the founder and leader, in fact, of the Asala terrorist organization. Although a citizen of the United States, Monte Melkonyan was quite educated. He devoted his entire life to terrorism against the Turks. Monte Melkonyan, the most beloved student of Ramiros Shakal, who is considered the world's #1 terrorist, was considered to be a highly specialized explosive expert. For this reason, hundreds of innocent people were killed in the terrorist attacks against Turks in Europe under his leadership. He took active part in street battles and wars in the Middle East. His fight against the Israeli state within the various terrorist organizations formed in the region did not indicate his love for the poor Palestinian people. It was a desire to gain combat experience. Melkonyan has been the organizer of several bloody terrorist attacks in Europe. Finally, a terrorist who was arrested by the French police for a terrorist act that resulted in numerous deaths at the French Orly airport in 1986 and has long been wanted internationally, is sentenced to 6 years in prison. It was also interesting that the leading force of the organization of such crimes was sentenced to only 6 years in prison. His earlier release from prison and immediate sending to Yerevan and Nagorno-Karabakh is also a subject for investigation. Melkonyan was one of the organizers and leaders of the Kocheli genocide, one of the bloodiest pages of the Karabakh War. Ibad Huseynov promises to avenge the blood of the Azerbaijanis and collects information about all the actions and operations of the Armenian commander Avo, and eventually destroys him as a result of his own special operation. The Armenian armed forces planning and facing the loss of new land by the Azerbaijani side was prevented. Enemy's plan failed. One of Ibad Huseynov's exceptional military achievements is that he has shown an example of personal bravery for the advancement of our army's military positions. It's no coincidence that until the beginning of the Karabakh War, the military units of our army facing the enemy positions have established a contact line in that area. Military command, which was not agree with the idea for the first time, later witnessed how much Ibad Huseynov took the right steps. The Azerbaijani banner was wrapped on positions and Azerbaijani soldiers guarded. On December 26, 1993, returning from new positions, Ibad Huseynov blown up by an anti-tank mine, almost mortally wounded, and spent 28 days in a coma. The doctors' brigade from Moscow operates Ibad. Although a unique operation was successful, but there was no guarantee of complete recovery. Shortly after leaving the hospital, he returns to the front line, has long struggled to recover, and despite the physician's bad prognosis, he did so at his own expense thanks to sports. On October 9, 1994, the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev, awarded him the Order of Azerbaijani Banner. Ibad Huseynov has repeatedly met with the President of the Republic of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and many Turkish officials. Huseynov, who was repeatedly invited to the cities of Turkey by special invitation, and was met with great interest, is regarded as the hero of the whole Turkic world. On April 28 in 2015, one of the streets in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, was named in honor of İbad Hüseyinov. In many Turkish cities, Ankara, Eskişehir, Kahramanmaraş, Gaziantep, Kırşehir, Adana, the streets and parks and museums are named after the hero. There are also streets in several cities in Azerbaijan named after İbad Hüseyinov. On October 18, 2022, in Independence Day of Azerbaijan Republic and İbad Hüseyinov birthday, the ceremonial event in connection with the opening of the park named in honor of İbad Hüseyinov took place in Adana. On that day, a statue to the hero was erected in the middle of the park. On October 18, 2020, he was awarded to Medal 100 Years Anniversary of State Security and Foreign Intelligence Agencies. On December 10, 2020, the President of Azerbaijan Republic, İlham Aliyev, awarded him the highest title of state, National Hero of Azerbaijan. On October 10, 2021, İbad Hüseyinov was invited to state ceremony dedicated to anniversary liberation of Hadrut from Armenian occupants, where took part President of Azerbaijan Republic İlham Aliyev. Sincere conversation and photos taken together with President will remain in the memory of the Azerbaijani public for a long time. On February 2, 2022, he was awarded to Medal 15 Years Anniversary of the Ministry of Defense Industry. On May 10, 2024, İbad Hüseyinov awarded to Medal 100 Years Anniversary of Heydar Aliyev. He was awarded the Order of Honor and Courage and other medals of Turkey. Have been made 2 feature films, 6 documentaries about the glorious martial route, numerous books, novels and narratives, and countless articles devoted to İbad Hüseyinov have been written and songs were composed. İbad Hüseyinov has not gone unnoticed by foreign journalists and analysts. Russian historian Professor Oleg Kuznetsov, who wrote a fundamental book about transnational Armenian terrorism, acknowledged that the hero of the Karabakh War, İbad Hüseyinov, had a special role in the struggle against terrorism. Richard Lapaitis, a well-known Lithuanian military journalist who witnessed bloody battles at that time, wrote in his notes, "I saw the only combat-ready unit in the Azerbaijani army at that time. It was a small squad of 12 specially trained warriors led by İbad Hüseyinov." Uzbek researcher and journalist Shukrat Barlas screened a documentary film about the hero called In Heroes Trace from Uzbekistan, and the presentation was held in Baku. Well-known Russian investigative journalist Yevgeny Mikhailov made film about the hero and devoted his book A Special Forces Soldier of the Soviet Army Became a Hero of the Turkic World to İbad Hüseyinov. As a public figure, İbad Hüseyinov visited many countries: Turkey, Uzbekistan, Israel, Ukraine and Russia. During a visit to Russia in 2018, he spoke bravely about Karabakh in the Russian State Duma and left a deep mark on memories. Yevgeny Mikhailov speaks about the need to use the İbad Hüseyinov factor as a bridge in deepening Russian-Turkish relations. İbad Hüseyinov, who is warmly welcomed by both Turkey and Israel, has already been accepted as a public activist. Ibad, who was once remembered with a special intolerance to an evil enemy, now successfully continues his peacekeeping mission to protect the honor of his country.